We've been putting on these sports luncheons for over 40 years, and those of us on the committee always feel that these scholar-athlete meetings are some of the most important things that we do. And this week we are going to feature the spring scholar-athlete, the female, and then next week we will honor the male scholar-athlete, who happens to be Jacob Smith from men's lacrosse. And so this week we will be featuring the female scholar. We would like to again thank Joan Hopkins and her staff for their work with the student athletes all year long and for helping us arrange and organize this luncheon. Thank you, Joan. As has been mentioned, the female spring scholar athlete for 2013 is Katie Bettencourt. She's a senior from Salem, New Hampshire. She's a sociology and psychology major and is on the softball team. To speak on her behalf is Assistant Professor of Sociology, Ryan Acton.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here to help congratulate Katie on winning this award, and I'm delighted to share with you my experience with Katie in the classroom specifically. First, let me tell you briefly a little bit about my experience with teaching, and then how Katie fits into that. So, I arrived here at UMass in the Department of Sociology as an assistant professor fresh out of graduate school in the fall of 2010. Now, prior to that, I'd never taught my own class before. As anyone who's taught before, you know how harrowing and intimidating it is to walk into a classroom for the first time. And that was me back in the fall of 2010. Since arriving here, I've now taught several times. My two main undergraduate courses here at UMass are Intro to Sociology and Social Network Analysis. Now, most of you probably hear social network analysis and think that it's a class about Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace, and all that online stuff. Unfortunately, it's not. And much to my chagrin, every semester, I lose anywhere from 10 to 20% of my students in the first week after breaking the news to them that it's not a class about Facebook after all. Social networks represent the numerous ways that we're connected to others, such as through marriage, through friendship, through employer-employee relationships, and even through things like sexual relationships. Social networks represent the glue that holds our society together, and in the field of sociology, we've come up with some pretty sophisticated and mathematical ways of measuring them and understanding how they work in our everyday lives. Now, let's fast forward to this past fall semester, which is when Katie was in my social networks class. Thankfully, she didn't drop out of the class after the first week upon finding out that it's not about Facebook. And not only that, but she was among a small handful of students in my class to earn an A. Let me tell you something about teachers, and especially about sociology professors. We all claim to teach really hard classes. Ask any of my colleagues in the sociology department, and they'll claim that their class is especially difficult and that it requires hard work and determination. Well, they're all liars, because in fact, my class is the hardest. And in a way it is. Many, but not all of students choose sociology as the major of least resistance towards a college degree. So you can imagine their dismay when they sign up for this Facebook class, only to find out that it requires learning a computer language, doing some math, and having to work hard at understanding the concepts. As far as I could tell, none of this fazed Katie, and she aced all of her assignments and exams in my class. It's students like her that make teaching the most fun. I don't just mean the students who get the A's, but also the students who put in the time and the effort into something in order to see it through. What's the point in going to college and taking all these classes if you're not going to put in the effort? So we should all be so lucky as to have students like Katie all of the time in our classes. Let me also share with you one last experience that I've had with student athletes in particular. Some of my best and brightest students have been student athletes. And sadly, some of my poorest performing and unmotivated students have been student athletes. Many of us on the academic side of campus here carry with us these negative stereotypes about student athletes. That they're going to cheat, that they're going to fail, that they're going to confirm our suspicion all along that student athletes don't have the academic chops. But for every one of those students, I've had students like Katie who demonstrate to me that for all the bad eggs out there, we have just as many gems. Katie, thank you for kicking ass in my class and for helping to remind me that some of our best and brightest students at UMass are also some of our best student athletes. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor. Now I would like to hear from one of her coaches. Christy, would you like to come up and speak on Katie's behalf?
Below the height level. Hi everyone, thank you for having us and thank you for honoring Katie. I've had the privilege of coaching Katie for 5 years as an outfielder and a hitter. She's as strong-willed on the field as she is in the classroom. Katie fought back from a god-awful season-ending injury where she lacerated her liver her junior year, sliding into second base, trying to steal. She was safe, however, season-ending injury. That was extremely tough for this team and extremely tough for her as she was a captain that year and she was also our starting right fielder and she was our three hitter. And for those of you that know about baseball and softball, the three hitter is like, that's your top dog. That's the kid that you look to for power and that was a big loss for us. What it taught Katie, though, is how to push through extremely tough situations, and I also think that it helped her learn how to lead a group of people without having an active role on the field. She had to step up and lead a group of kids to a tournament without being in right field, without being that star three hitter, and I think she did a fantastic job. Katie is the driving force on our softball team and within our athletic community. Her involvement in SAC has been constant for 5 straight years, and she has been a leader in numerous community service activities. I'm very proud to have Katie as one of my student athletes, and we really do look forward to everything that is headed for her in the future, as she will continue on for school, grad school, and she's also going to be the grad assistant at Amherst College. So we're hoping she takes her big strong bat and her knowledge of outfield and helps out Whitney Monk at Amherst College. So congratulations, Katie, and we're very proud of you.
So next up is our 2013 Spring Scholar Athlete. And on behalf of the Sports Luncheon Committee and the University, Katie would like to congratulate you on how beautifully you represented us on the field and in the classroom. So everybody, here's our athlete.
Okay, thank you very much for having me today. Over my years, I've had quite a few awards for my athletic performance, but not a lot for my academic performance. So this means so much when my hard work in the classroom has been recognized. So thank you all. Over my 5 years, it's definitely been a roller coaster of a ride, but a fun one. I came in as a freshman, unsure of what I wanted to major in. And yes, so I was unsure. So it probably wasn't until my second semester of my freshman year when I took an introductory class to sociology that sparked my interest. Could have been that there was five other teammates in the class that made it enjoyable, but really caught my interest, and that's when I decided to major in sociology. And I also, at first, minored in psychology after taking a class with Susan Whitbourne, who is awesome if you haven't met her. Okay, so flash forward to the year, like Christy said, that I got hurt. It was probably the toughest year ever for me that I have ever experienced, not only emotionally with not being able to help my team on the field, but also academically. I had one of the poorest academic semesters that I've ever had. But I was lucky enough to get that red shirt. I was hurt early enough in the year that I was eligible for the red shirt year, and I can't thank compliance and my coaches enough. They really worked their tails off to get me that 5th year, and it really meant a lot to me. I can't thank them enough. But it left me in a tough place. I was a junior, my 2nd semester junior year. I only had one more sociology class to complete my major, and 1 or 2 psych classes to complete my minor. So it left me in a tough place, and I probably would not be able to come up with a solution if it wasn't for academic services with Matt Comer and Pete Montag, who usually is the SAC, my SAC advisor. But him and Matt, and as well as the other interns with academics, they really helped me come up with a solution where I was going to double major in both psychology and sociology. So, as hard as that semester was, academically wise, I came back the next semester and made Dean's List for the first time, and that was with a lot of my core sociology and psychology classes. And I just think that's a testament to the person that I've become since being here at UMass. You know, I get knocked down, but I come back and I come back firing. So being a student athlete here is very hard. We have a lot to do, a lot on our plate, kind of constantly feel exhausted. But I feel totally prepared for what life has in store for me going forward. And I know that definitely will not have as tough a boss as Coach Sortino in my life. So I know that I'm all set. Know I can make it in whatever I do. I've met so many incredible people, from my teammates to classmates to professors to my coaches to alumni. My experience here at UMass as a student athlete has been incredible, and I'm just very thankful that I came here to UMass, and I love it, and my experience once again has been awesome. So thank you very much for this. I really appreciate it.